All right, so I know some of you were not in class last Thursday, and I just wanted to record a video, um, basically getting you up to speed so that way we can start off Tuesday at the same spot we finished on Thursday. You will need to make sure that you have all of this done ahead of time. And if you do not, then we will be continuing on without you. So please make sure that you follow along in this video, get everything done so that way you're ready to go when it comes to Tuesday. We will be off to the races very first thing out of the gate. And so this will be a part of what you need to have done ahead of time. If you were there on Thursday, you've already completed everything in this video, so you are good to go. And just bring your computer and be ready for class. So let's go ahead and get ready. Let's go to there, and we need to open up Grandom A3. All right. Let's see. All right, so we got Grandom A3 open. If your screen pops this up, just hit I agree. And we are going to start with a blank show. So go ahead and go up to your cogwheel, hit back up, hit new show. We're going to title it TA-180 movers. Okay, I've already got one titled that, so I'm going to add a number. And this is what you need to have ready to go for Tuesday. So we're going to hit new show. We're going to hit new show. There we go. Okay. So the very first thing out of the gate is we need to go in and patch some moving head fixtures. So what we are using are the Martin Mac Vipers. Okay. And we're using the Viper Performances. We're using the 16-bit extended mode, which we discussed the two various modes here, what they do last Thursday. So if you have questions on that, please refer to the user manual for the Viper to make sure and look at what mode we're using, what features come along. You can search through the user manual and find all of that information. So then hit select. We will name them Viper 1. So we need to put that in there. We will be patching a quantity of 6. We will do the fixture ID of 101, and we will do a patch of 1, universe 1, channel 1. Then we'll hit please. All that's ready, and we will hit create, which is down at the very bottom of your screen. So if we hit right here, we have created that. Okay, so then go back here. All right. So once we have created that, we will go out of our patch window. So the X up here at the top, yes, save and exit. Okay. So the very next thing is I need to go ahead and create my preset groups and go ahead and build in a 3D visualizer. So I'm going to click here in the bottom, about the middle of the page, and I'm going to add data pool, and we are going to add groups. And then up here in the top, we are going to hit 3D viewer. And as you can see, we cannot see our instruments because we have to actually move them into their space. The easiest way that I've found to do this through the years is to type in some commands and select your fixtures and get them to move into our correct spot. So for us to select all of our fixtures, we would go to our command screen here. We'd hit fixture through and hit please. This will select all of your fixtures at once. We're going to go ahead and hit our shortcuts button, and we're going to hit store, and we're going to click there. That has now stored all of our fixtures. We're going to go ahead and rename it using our swipeys and call it Vipers. Okay. Now, the next thing that you can do is we need to make individual groups. This is a little bit more important than when we were working with just conventional fixtures. So I like to create individual groups for each fixture. It makes life a little easier when I'm having to select them, all that stuff. So there's a couple ways that we can do it. The easy, like uncomplicated method, if you want to call it that, is to type in the number for each fixture. The problem is that adds a lot of time into it. So the way that I like to do it is I select my entire group. So I'm going to click on Vipers here, and I'm going to hit the next arrow on my keyboard. So if you pull this up, you should have next up here. Or if you see right there, it has the right arrow. So I'm going to be using the right arrow, and I'm going to create 6 groups, one for each fixture, each individual fixture. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my right arrow. You'll see that that turns yellow. When it turns yellow, I know I've only selected a portion of that group, and I'll go there, next, store there, next, store there. All right, so now I've selected all my fixtures. I'm going to hit clear, which if you have a keyboard in front of you, it's the delete key. On your keyboard, if you go here, you can go, it's down underneath where my camera is, but it's down here in the bottom right-hand corner of your programmer area. So you can click clear 3 times. So now I've created my 6 groups. What I can do is I can come in and I can select these groups all together, and you'll see that this will turn green. When it turns green, it means that I've selected everything in that group. Or I can click here and it will select everything. You can see yellow means that's a secondary selection. Green means that that's the primary instrument, and yellow means that's a secondary selection within that group. So as I click through, you can see that's a secondary selection. But yeah, you'll need to know a little bit about that as we go into Tuesday. So the next thing is to go ahead and start moving them into position. There's a couple ways we can do it. We can do it in our patch window. So if you go into the setting or into your patch, you can go into show our full view. You have your positions here that you can do. I don't like using this unless I have specific deployable kind of sheets in front of me, because I can't really visualize it as I go. I have to exit out of my visualizer to see what's going on. So I don't really love doing that. So that's within your patch window. Within your patch live video, you can do the same thing. And if you have multiple screens opened up, you can see it there. I'm assuming that you're only going to have one screen right now that you're working on, but if you have multiple screens, you can kind of lay it out there and view everything you need to as you make your adjustments. Or the other way is if we go in and hit the setup button right here, we select our fixtures and now we can control them. So what we did on Thursday was a position of -6 through 6 with a kind of triangular method look to it, kind of in a backwards way to how Christmas Spec was set up. But we did a position height of 6. So we're going to kind of start with all that and get that done. I always like to get my instruments off of the ground into the air so I can see them. So I'm going to go ahead and click my position Z, which does my height. And I'm going to do a height of 6. You can see that it now pops up into the air, and we can see our instruments up there. Okay. So this is where you can also use some of your other views. So I'm going to do a 2D top. Makes life a little easier when I'm plotting things out like this. Once I know they are in the correct height, everything else works for me easier in the 2D top-down view, which is why I have you do a lot of these on your assignments. And it's a very easy method to use to kind of view everything. So the next thing is we are going to adjust our X position. We're going to do -6 through 6. And it will spread out our fixtures. It will go ahead and apply that. So this is where we have things a little bit complicated. I'd say they're complicated, but they're not really super complicated. What we are going to do is select our first 3 Vipers, 1, 2, and 3, and we will do a position of -6 through 0, and then we will select our next 4 Vipers, or next 3 Vipers, and we will need to make sure we select them in that order, so 4, 5, and 6, and then we will do a position Y of 0 through -6. Okay. That will begin to get you to this point on it. Let's see. To which you can see that we have a kind of V shape happening here. So this is where we got to in class last week. So this is where we are going to be starting from. So make sure that you have all this accomplished. Also go ahead and check and make sure that you are back in your front view, and you can see that everything is where you need it to be for your movement. So this is where we are going to be starting from. Please let me know if there's any questions in your emails, and we will go from there. Thank y'all.